Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of A Week in the Life of a Part-Time eBay Reseller. My name is Tom and this is Tom's Toys 95. So I have a full-time job and I like to resell on eBay on the side as a bit of a side hustle just to earn some additional income. I've been doing this now for around about 7 or 8 years and I just like to share my knowledge with you guys and go through everything that I picked up, what sold, and I'll tell you how much I paid for it, where I got it from, and ultimately at the end of the video we'll go through all of the profits and I'll show you how much I made. Now, I don't make a great deal of money, but I like to be transparent and just go through and show you the reality of a part-time worker. Now, I earn a full-time wage, so I don't need the extra income, it just helps. And as a video game collector, I like to use the profits to fund my video game collection. So that's kind of how this thing works. Anything that I make goes back into the collection and back into YouTube and back into reselling. So I'll just buy more stock with it, really. I don't tend to really pay myself a wage, which is kind of silly, but the money just gets recycled back into either the business or the collection. So without further ado, I like to record my sales from Saturday morning through to Friday night. It's now Monday, it's Bank Holiday Monday, and I'm going to go through all of the weekend sales. So last couple of weeks been a bit slow, haven't really made too many sales, and the sales that I have made haven't really cost that much, so there's not really been much income. So I've skipped the car boots. Most of them have been rained off this weekend, but the weekend before I skipped them because I couldn't really afford it. So let's hope this week brings a lot more income and a lot more sales. But yeah, we're kicking off with 13 sales so far, which is pretty good. Last week I think I only made 9 or 10 sales the whole week, so 13 has beat that already. But there's nothing too spectacular in here, nothing with a great deal of profit. But I didn't really pay a lot for a lot of the items either, so I'm going to go through them now. So the first sale to go through was actually from last week's video, and I should have included it and forgot, and that is this Only Fools and Horses van. Now this is the Del Boys Reliant Regal Super Van, I think, and this is boxed. It's a 1/43 scale car, and I picked up this and Mr. Bean's Mini, which I think was like a corgi one, and it was 2 for a fiver, so £2.50 this cost me, and I sold it for £13.95. Now I add postage on top, so whenever I say a price, always expect postage as well. So the next sale then, I'm going to go with this Poe Teletubby plush. This was 50p from a Carmarthen charity shop in Wales when I went there about a month or so ago for my birthday. Cost 50p and that sold for £6.99. The next one is this watch strap, came from the watch bundle, and I paid £1 for this and it sold for £12.95. This is a Kenneth Cole crocodile leather watch strap. This is a brown one. The next sale I'm glad to see the back of. I've had these probably for around about 6 or 7 years and they are long out of date, and these were promotional limited edition drinks to celebrate the launch or promote the launch of Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and that came out in 2018. So it's now 2025. I've had these for 7 years, and instead of Lucasade it's called Larazade. I thought these would be highly collectible, and at the time I had quite a few international buyers buy them. I remember posting some to Italy, but since then they've just lingered and lingered and lingered. They've gone out of date, no one's obviously going to drink them anymore, and they are just kind of like a collector's item. However, the carbonation in the drinks have like gone, so they're all like warped and battered, and yeah, I'm just happy to see them go. So it's a big heavy bulky item. I've charged £6 postage on top, and this sold for £12.95. I think I paid £3.40 or something like that for Morrison's where I used to work. Still made profit, but I've had them 7 years, so definitely not worth doing. I always get sucked in by limited edition drinks bottles and stuff, and rarely do they actually make me much money, so I should probably learn. But yeah, I can't help myself. The next sale is this Tonka metal diecast toy dump truck. This was from the game sale that was closing down in my local town centre probably about 2 months ago now. Paid £3 for it, and I paid £3 because it should have been £6. It was 50% off because the box was damaged. There's a crack here, there's that loose sellotape, and it's coming away from the cardboard. It's not in the best condition, but it's all reflected in the listing, and that sold for £8 plus postage. So the next sale then, we have this Mercedes-Benz Patronus F1 shirt. This was £4 from a charity shop. This is something like Lewis Hamilton probably would have wore back in the day. I do like Lewis Hamilton, so I kind of like didn't really want to sell it, but it's quite old, and if I'm going to buy F1 merch, I'll get probably something new or in the sale from like last season rather than like 10 years old. But yeah, £4 for charity shop, UK size large, sold that for £12. The next one then, I'm going to go with these pair of Vans shoes. So my girlfriend actually gave me these. She didn't want them anymore. She's got loads of Vans, and about a year or two ago she gave me a load of shoes. They've been dumped in my garage for over a year and a half, and I finally got around to listing them probably about a year ago maybe. I've reduced the price a little bit as I put them fairly high because they're for her. I thought I'll give her the money, so I listed them quite high and cleaned them up quite nice. So as you can see, there's not much wear on them. They ended up going for a tenner in the end, which is about fair, I suppose. But yeah, they're like checkerboard Vans. The next sale then, I'm going to go with this video CD. Now I can't remember what it's called. It doesn't have the English language on it. It's all in like a Hong Kong. But all of the other ones that I picked up in a bundle all have like English subtitles. This one doesn't seem to. But I visited Brighton probably about 18 months ago now on like a work trip. Went to a charity shop there and they had 14 of these for £7, so 50p each. And there was a big stack of these Hong Kong movies. 50p each, this one sold for £8. Haven't really sold many of them, to be honest. They're all listed now. But yeah, only a couple are sold. I guess they're not really that in demand. But when they do sell, they sell quite well, so nice bit of profit on that one. This FIFA 18 on the Switch is next. Paid 50p for this from the car boot about 3 weeks ago, and only listed this the other day, and it sold the day after. This went for £6.40 plus postage. The next one was this Call of Duty classified intel pack. It's basically just a bunch of postcards. Came with Modern Warfare 3, I believe, and it's all like smoke damaged and stained. I got this free from like a bundle at the car boot, I think it was. So I got £3.50 plus postage for that, so I was just happy to get something for it. The next one is this Disney Infinity 2.0 game and pad. Now, I used to pick up loads of these. These and Skylanders used to separate all the figures, sell the figures separately, and then I thought I would get more money by breaking it down and selling the game and the pad separate. Turns out they're not very valuable or desirable on their own without the figures, and I've been holding on to this now for about 4 years. So I'm glad it's finally sold and it's gone for £3. So I've just reduced it and it's eventually sold. So £4 for that, but I would have only paid about £2 for that if anything. I've got a big bundle of figures for say a tenner, and I'd be selling them for like £40, and that's just like the fodder that comes with it. So it doesn't owe me much. Coming on from the watch bundle where I bought the watch strap for £1, I put all the accessories down as £1 and the watches down as a tenner. So I bought a big bundle of watches a few years ago, and this one has sold for 20. It's up for 25. Someone sent me a message asking if I'd do 20, so I sent them an offer, and that's gone for £20. This is probably the cheapest watch out of the collection, to be fair. It's called Rubber. Never heard of the brand before, but it's very similar to like an ice watch, and those retail about £80. So pretty decent watch, I guess, for £20. And I believe the last sale, and that I think that is the last one, is this Forky True Talkers. Now this came from the car boot. It's £2, and it is boxed. However, it's really grubby. So the box is battered. The toy itself has a bit of like mud stains and stuff on it. I did my best to clean it up. It's really dusty. But for £2, I know these can be quite valuable. Obviously, in the box, in good condition, they go for a lot more money. But this ended up going for £9.95, which I was fairly surprised about. But I did clean it up the best I could. It'd been through the wars, but for £2, brand new in the box, well, brand new, then I thought it was worth a punt. But yeah, that is everything that I've sold so far this week. 13 sales. Going to go get them wrapped and taken to the post office on my lunch break tomorrow when I go back to work. Hello. So about 10 days has passed since I last recorded that segment, and I completely forgot to let you know in that segment that I was going to Ireland for the weekend. So I went for a friend's 30th birthday, and we were gone about 4 or 5 days. So by the time I got back, I missed my weekly upload deadline, and I hadn't obviously gone through the rest of the sales. So what I'm going to do is merge this week's now video and last week's, which is the week you just sort of think you've been watching, together, and we're going to get one big video, and it's going to be 2 weeks long. So unfortunately, I have had to post all of my items as I put my store in holiday mode. I came back, had quite a lot of sales, and I just needed to get them gone, so I haven't had time to record the segment and go through them all. So what I'm going to do is go through on my laptop, go through the sales, and I'll try and put like a picture or video or something on screen of the item. There's a few pickups as well to go through, so we'll go through those as we get to them. Right, first things first, before we get into the sales, actually I'm going to put this in here because I don't want people to think that I'm like clickbaiting or have to watch the whole video, because I understand, you know, the title is pulling people in and they want to see what the thing is about. So I'll just get straight into it. But those Lucozade bottles that I sold earlier on in the video, very clearly on my listing, it said a pack of 6. So I've got the listing here. Larazade, which is the sort of spin-off name they called it instead of Lucozade. So Larazade Lucozade original 6-pack, 380ml limited edition Tomb Raider bottles, new, which they are new. They are sealed and they're still in the wrapper. And then if I view the actual listing so that I can see the description as well. So in the description it says, do not consume in capitals, out of date, expired in 2019. This is a limited edition Tomb Raider Lara Croft promotion. Check out my other Lara's Aid items as I've got more of them. I'm trying to get rid of them all. You're receiving a six pack, all still sealed. This will be heavy, so that's why postage is quite high. There's a small blemish in the packet by the barcode, otherwise it's in good collector quality. The bottles are somewhat deflated due to age and lack of fizz and carbonation, sold as seen, right? So, person bought the item and I messaged them and said, oh, I've got other Tomb Raider bottles and stuff, because they only bought the one flavour, because it's a 6-pack of the same flavour. So there's an apple one and there's an orange one as well. So I messaged politely and just said, if you want the other bottles I'll do you a deal. They didn't reply, fine, sent it. Now, it delivered on one day, and the next day they put in a claim to say the item was not received. So I saw that item not received, and I didn't see any note on it, to be honest. Put in, the item wasn't delivered. So I checked, and it said delivered on, I think it was like the 30th or something, and it was the 31st that they put the claim in. So I was like, well, they've obviously received it and then put the claim in the next day. It's been about a week since, and I decided to ask eBay to step in because I re-uploaded the tracking number, which is exactly the same one, and it shows it's been delivered. I messaged the buyer, they didn't reply. And when I click that button, it kind of tells you the history of what's happened so far. And when they put the did not received claim in, they actually had received the item. They put in the description, and I have a screenshot which I'll put on screen, but they basically said that the item was advertised as a 24-pack, which it wasn't. It was a 6-pack. The title and the description says 6-pack, and the photos say 6-pack. And they drank one, which I don't believe they did, but they drank one, and it tasted horrible, so they threw it away or something like that. So what I think's happening is the person has claimed that the item's not received, because if they claimed that it was not as described, they would either lose the case because it is as described, or they've thrown the item away, so they don't have the item to return. So by saying it didn't arrive, they're hoping that they get a refund. But yeah, either way, they selected the wrong thing, and I put the claim in. I think it was like 15 minutes. I got an email back to say the case is now closed. So I won the claim, I won the case, and I got my money back because they put it on hold. But yeah, the person claimed that the 6-pack was actually meant to be a 24-pack, which in nowhere in the description does it mention 24-pack. And that they drank one and it was out of date, and it was very clearly obvious that it was out of date. So are they silly, or are they just trying to scam me? I don't know. I'm going to go with the scam, but I really hope for their sake they did not consume it. But yeah, that's it. Back to the video. So then, straight into the rest of the sales for week 1. I think we got an extra 10. So these all sold while I was in Ireland, and the benefits of having a business account on eBay is that you can put your store into holiday mode, which I did on Thursday around 3 p.m. I made some sales straight away, which is a little bit annoying, but I suppose people do get notified, so that I've had to wait a little bit for the item, which I do apologise if any of them are watching, but that is how it goes, and it does have a disclaimer when they buy it that I'm going to be away. But yeah, that is the benefit, is I can put time away. So I put time away from Friday through to, I think, Wednesday, because I came back on Tuesday, and then I went and saw my sister down in London for the day. So I had until Thursday or Friday this week to post them. So the first one is a bunch of 12 Zorro Disney mini brands. Now those, you might have seen them in the shops. They're like a little egg capsule, and inside is a bunch of figures. They started out doing like plastic food ones, like tomato ketchup and stuff like that, just little mini toys. I don't know why a kid would want a mini tomato ketchup or a hairspray or something, but they did all sorts of stuff, and they moved on to Disney store ones. So I paid £5 for this like play set, and there was a bunch of figures as well, so I split it up. So I marked on my spreadsheet that I paid £3 for the playset, or the store that stores all the items, and then £2 for this bunch of figures. So I listed that for a tenner, and that sold for $9.95 plus postage, so happy with that. The next sale is a steelbook, and it's Star Wars Fallen Order, or Jedi Fallen Order. Now I bought this in a steelbook bundle, and it only worked out to be about £2. The only catch was the steelbook was pretty damaged, and it had been like trampled on or something. It was completely squashed and battered, but I didn't have it, so I added it to my collection. And then not too long ago, maybe about 8 months ago, I picked up a big steelbook bundle from somebody just before Christmas, and in there was a really nice condition copy of the Jedi Fallen Order, so I added that to my collection, and I sold the battered one. Now I only paid £2 for it, and it sold for $14.99, which I was quite pleased with. So the next two sales are the same items, but I just sold quantities of them. So I think I bought 180 packs of football stickers from somebody I know for 60 quid, and they worked out about 30p a pack, and they are the 2025 Premier League stickers. Now, I was tempted to keep them. I do like football and I do like opening cards and stickers. I do have a bunch here ready to open on the channel at some point, just a bunch of miscellaneous ones. So yeah, there's a lot of cards and stickers here that I've just picked up from my sort of ventures out cheap and at the car boots and stuff like that. So I've got a bunch ready to go for like shorts and stuff if anyone is interested in that. However, these Premier League ones I did want to open for myself, but there were so many of them I just thought I'm not going to bother like collecting them all, and you open them, they lose their value. So I decided to sell a bunch of them, and I made my money back. So I paid 60 quid for the bundle. I sold quite a lot for about 70-80 quid, and after fees I got about £60 back. And then I had 75 packets left, and I was going to keep those myself, but I decided to pass them on. So I sold a bunch of 50 and a bunch of 25. So the 50 went for £30 plus postage, and the 25 went for £18 plus postage. So the 50 were listed a bit higher, but I took an offer. And as it's the end of season, they do tend to drop in price. So I just thought take the 30 quid while I can, it's still profit. So 30p a packet, not arguing with that. The next one then was a Pokemon Arceus Nintendo Switch Steelbook. Now with those, I bought this from a car boot the other week. I don't think I've uploaded it yet, unfortunately. I've only been to a couple of car boots this year and I just haven't had time to edit the videos yet. I do apologise. But I picked up the Steelbook for £2 from somebody. It's still sealed, and that went for £8.50. I listed it a bit cheaper because it was a bit battered. I don't think there's any dents and stuff on it, but all the plastic was a little bit ripped and a bit dirty, so I listed it for £8.50, and that's sold. The next one, so at the start of the video I showed you the little toy car from Only Fools and Horses, Del Boy. Well, I picked up two cars for a fiver. So one was that one for £2.50, and the other one was this one for £2.50, which is a Mr. Bean Austin Mini Corgi Collectibles. So that was boxed as well, and that was £11.60 I got for that, so that was also £2.50. The next one, again, I don't know if I showed you the pickup for this one or not. I was meant to in last week's episode, so I bought an extra Art Pop vinyl. So Art the Clown from the Terrifier movies. I had two, and there's a set of four, and I found the third one. I can't find the fourth one yet, but I found the third one, so I bought two of those and added it to my two sets that I had of two, and I made two sets of three. So one set of three sold, and that went for $59.95, and I worked out I paid $41.25 for those three. The next one is a Metal Gear Revengeance Steelbook on the Xbox 360. I've mentioned this a few times on the channel because I have got a bunch of these and I've sold these in the past. But for those that are new, I paid something like 50p each for a big bunch of these steelbooks. Someone had about 30 of them, and I think I paid like 15-20 quid for the lot. Now, they were all a bit dirty and dented, and some were rusty, so condition does vary. Some are like pretty good condition, but some of them are pretty battered. But as time went on, they've become more collectible. And I think I forgot to list them for a long time, not going to lie, because the condition varied. I couldn't just do one listing and put times 30, because someone would end up with a really bad condition one and someone would end up with a good condition one. So I decided to like list one at a time, and I think what happened was with one sold, I forgot to relist it, and then I just found them in my garage and was like, oh, I forgot about these. So for the last year or so, I've been like sort of listing one, selling one, listing one, selling one. And as a result, I've made probably about 70-80 quid from these steelbooks, and I've probably only sold about 6 of them. But another one sold, and that's gone for £20 plus postage on that one. So I only paid 50p, so they're really good value. But this is the rare occasion where holding on to the stock and not listing it has actually benefited me in the long run. It's not gone down, it's gone up. The next sale was also from the same lady that I purchased the Nintendo Steelbook from, the Switch one, Pokemon Steelbook. That one, that lady had a bunch of like Pokemon stuff, so it's a bit of a spoiler for the video, but it's my fault for not loading it. But there is a bunch of Pokemon like plushies, some Pokemon cards, and then there's a few games and steelbooks I picked up. And I paid like 14 quid for this big bundle, so everything was dirt cheap. And one of the things that I picked up in that bundle was this Mario and Sonic London 2012 Olympic Games 3DS game, and that sold for $5.95, and I only paid 50p for it. And the next one is FIFA 13 Ultimate Edition, which is the bonus edition, on the Xbox 360. That was from a charity shop in Stratford-upon-Avon. I think I paid £1 for that. I was actually on a work trip and just walked past and was like, oh, charity shop, and Stratford-upon-Avon is quite an affluent area. I was hoping there'd be some good stuff, and there really wasn't, to be honest. I was really disappointed. But there was one game in there. It was £1 and it was still sealed, and that was FIFA 13. So picked that up, sold that for £11. That's been listed for a little while. I think I took an offer or I reduced it. I think I had it up for about 15 quid. And the last one to sell for week 1 was 2 Super Mario 3D World car air fresheners. So now I've got Bullet Bill and Yoshi. So those were from a TV and movie store. I noticed these were in there for $2.99 and they were from 2017. So I looked them up on eBay. None on eBay existed. So I thought I'd gamble and buy 2 packs and just try my luck. So I listed them for $12.99 and they sold. So $12.99 plus postage, so 15 quid all in. And I paid £5.98 for those, and I only got those last week as well. So those have sold really quickly. So what I'll do now, before we move on to week 2, I'll go through the pickups for the week, which is part from week 1, part from week 2. And that way we'll split up the video a bit just so it's not all sales and a bit boring. And yeah, I'll go straight into it. So I haven't decided if I'm going to keep these or sell them yet, but these were originally $14.99 and I think this one was like $9.99. But I ended up picking these up for $4.99 and $7.99 from HMV. So that one's Snorant, and then these two are Cubone. So I think Cubone and Marowak, is it? Yeah, it is, yeah. So those two are pretty cool. I'm definitely at least going to keep these ones. I might sell that one as I don't know which one that is. I'm a pretty simple guy when it comes to Pokemon. I only know the originals and maybe Gen 2 or 3. I don't know all the new ones, I'm still learning. But I am on a bit of a Pokemon hype at the moment, which leads on to while I was in Ireland, me and my friend Connor, we've actually uploaded a few Pokemon videos together, so do check those out if you're into Pokemon. I know a lot of you aren't if you're into the eBay reselling and stuff, so I do apologise if those videos are quite boring or you haven't checked them out because you're not interested, which is absolutely fine. But if anyone is interested in trading cards or Pokemon, then do check those videos out. But while we were in Ireland on our trip, we picked up a bunch of Destined Rivals, and I managed to get a sort of semi-booster box. I think the full box is like packs of 36. This is a pack of 18, so it's like a half booster box. So I picked up one of those while I was in Ireland, and we got a bunch of cards. So I have opened some of them, and I will be uploading some shorts and stuff soon. But while we were there, we bought a bunch of Destined Rivals cards. And then in a trading card shop, they hadn't had the Destined Rivals in. That was from a different place. But the shop that hadn't got them in was actually a trading card shop. They were just waiting on their stock, and they had this. And it is a Honolulu 2024 Pokemon World Championship set. Now, I think it's just like a deck, so it's a pre-built deck with like a promo card or something in there and a little Pikachu pin. But it looks pretty cool, and I thought, it's pretty, not rare, but a pretty weird, random thing to have. So I thought I'll keep this in my collection, keep it sealed. It's just nice to look at. I'm not going to open it up because I think it's just a pre-built deck, so once it's open, it's not really got any value to it. But I thought sealed in the box, it might be worth something in the future, but also it's a pretty cool item to have. The next one is this Pokemon Scarlet and Violet Temporal Forces Collector's Album. Now this was only $4.99. I found this in a newsagent's just randomly shoved behind a magazine, and I thought for $4.99, the pack's $3.99 anyway, so for £1 I've got an album and a poster. So it's quite an old set now. I think it came out about 2 years ago, so there are probably not many knocking around, so I could probably sell this for profit, but I think I'm going to add that to my collection as well. Then, some of you also may remember, if you're a regular viewer, I've mentioned this guy before, but I've picked up quite a few trains in the past, like model trains. And I have a guy who lives near me who, I bought some trains off him once on Facebook Marketplace, and he's a big train collector. And he always messages me when he's got some more trains to sell. So he's always sorting me out. I told him not to undersell them to me, and he said he's happy with what he's getting, and he doesn't want people messing him about on Facebook and stuff, and coming to collect and they're not turning up. So he knows that I'm reliable, and if I give him a time and date, then I'll be there. So if he ever kind of sends me a message saying I've got some trains that I want to sell, do you want to buy them? I just trust his pricing, so I don't do any research. He's a bit old-fashioned. He doesn't go into any detail, doesn't send any photos. He just tells me what the train is. I don't really know what the train is. I just turn up and I'll buy them. So there's only one time I've lost out on him. But to be fair, if I lose a bit of money, it doesn't matter. I'm happy just to help him out. And if he wants a quick sale and he can reinvest that into his train set, and I can make a little bit of money, by listing them and waiting a few weeks or a month or whatever for them to sell, then I don't mind it. Both of us happy at the end of the day. So I picked up 7 trains, and the first one is this Lima model train. This is an Esso one, so it's Esso branded, like an oil tanker. He told me this company is now out of business, so they don't make these ones anymore. So I don't know if that makes it more or less collectible. I haven't really looked at the prices yet, but
I'll tell you now, there's 7 trains in here, or 7 pulleys if you like, and these were 50 quid. So they worked out, I think it was like £7 or £8 each. And I know for a fact I easily get £20 all day long for these, maybe even 25, 30 if there's not much competition. So there's a few loose ones. So that one was in the box, and then the rest of these ones are loose. So we've got a BP and Shell one, so we've got 2 of those. Make that 3 of those, and then there's an SO one here. So I've got 4 loose trains. We've got the Lima boxed one, and then I've got 2 Hornby ones. One is Elf, and the other one is BP oil as well, but a different design. So these 2 boxed ones I might aim for 25 to 30, and those loose ones I'll aim for 20, maybe more depending on what the market's like. But I always list trains higher than they probably should, but they always sell. So I can always reduce them, but they always tend to sell. So I am a little bit greedy when it comes to them, just because I know that they sell really, really quickly, and there's a lot of collectors for them. So, you know, the whole point of reselling is to maximise your money. So why not? That is pretty much everything that I picked up. So it's time to go into the week 2 sales. Now, there's not a lot because I had my store in holiday mode. So not many people purchased, I don't think. So I think I only made I got made 8 sales a week. So yeah, and one of them was 2 sales from the same person, so technically 7 sales a week. So this one will be a nice short episode, or a nice short snippet, shall I say, for week 2. So week 2 then, we kicked off with a Nintendo Switch Super Mario promotional sticker sheet. Picked this up for 40p from a game closing down sales in the promo box, and yeah, it was only 40p. Pound an item, had 250 items, offered them or asked them how much they'd do for the whole box, and it was £100 for the whole box, so worked out 40p per item, and that sold for a £5. The next one is Vin Diesel's Wheelman on the PS3. Now I picked this up from a charity shop. I already have it in my collection. It's not really worth a lot of money, but it came with a map, which I don't think mine did, which it didn't. So when I got home, I swapped it over. I had a condition upgrade and added a map to the game, which I didn't even know that game came with a map. And that sold for £3.50, paid £2 for it. So I did make a little bit of profit, but I also stole the map out of it and put it in my own collection. So I'm just happy to get back what I paid for that one. The next one is a Lego figure. Bought a bunch of Lego stuff, and some of them are more expensive than others. This one only cost me £1, and it sold for £3.50 plus postage. Been listed a while, and that is an Ugnaught dark blue overalls Star Wars figure. Don't really watch Star Wars, so I don't know who that is, but he was an ugly character nonetheless. But that sold for £3.50. The next one is 13 limited edition Steelbook on the PS4. This is a remake of a PS2 game, or a remaster of a PS2 game. Came out on the PS4 a couple of years ago, and they had a Steelbook version. So I picked up a few copies of these. One's in my collection, and I picked up 1 or 2 to sell. Now I sold the disc for like £8 or £9, and I sold the Steelbook separately. So I believe the game cost me £12, and I split it in half. So the disc cost me £6, the Steelbook cost me £6, and I sold the Steelbook on its own for £8.70 plus postage. So I got, I think, £12 or £11 all in. The next one is a videotape for camcorders. So I saw this at a car boot, and the guy that was chatting to me was like, "Oh, you're a reseller?" And I was kind of like, "Yeah, I just like to buy and sell and collect stuff and whatever." And he said, "Oh, I've got a few good items that you might want to resell." And he was just trying to like get me to buy something, really. But to be fair to him, he was right with these ones. He said that he's got a bunch of these like camcorder videotapes. They're brand new and sealed. It's like new old stock, essentially. You can't buy them really much anymore unless you go to like a specialist place. So they can be quite expensive. So if anyone's got any old footage on an old video camcorder, they can kind of copy that onto this tape. So that's why they keep their value. So I think I paid £3 each for 5 tapes. It might have been, actually it's five tapes, and I paid £12. So they might only work out about £2.50 a tape. But either way, that sold for £9.95. So yeah, happy with that. I only bought those a couple of weeks ago as well. The next sale was purchased by the same person, and he bought 2 items of them. So that is the exact same shirt. I bought 2 batches of 2 different Wales shirts. One was the 1984 home replica, and the other one was the 1976 home replica. And he's bought 2 of the same one in the same size, but they're both brand new tags, so they might be gifts. And they went for £20 each. I paid £10 each for those from the JD sale. So yeah, double my money on those ones, and I only had to pay one lot of postage because I combined the order together. So happy with that as well. Saved a bit of money there. And the last sale for the week, which concludes this video, and then I'll go over all the profits and figures. The last sale was NBA 2K20 on the Nintendo Switch, and I picked up a massive bundle of these. They are in Spanish, unfortunately, but they're all brand new and sealed, and they cost me about £2.10 or something like that. So it's 130 quid for 62 copies. And I've sold one of those, and that's gone for £6.95. Very slow sellers, but when they do sell, they make a decent bit of profit. But yeah, that is everything for the week. So I think it's probably best, rather than add up both weeks together, I'll probably go through week 1 and week 2. So this is the part of the video where I like to just be transparent and go through, how much came in, how much went out, overall, how much profit I made. And people watching then can see whether it's worth reselling or not. The idea is, if anyone is a reseller already and you watch my videos, appreciate it, but most people that are watching, I'd assume, are people that either don't resell or are interested in reselling and maybe have just started out. Is it worth doing? Yes and no. It takes up a lot of time, and as the years have gone on, rather than getting better at it and making more money, I'm actually probably making less money. eBay fees go up, postage fees go up, cost of items kind of goes up. Things aren't always as cheap as they used to be. People tend to know what value things are nowadays. Now everyone's got their phones, they can just scan it in on eBay, they can check their price of their games on CEX, etc. A lot more people are reselling, so therefore there's more competition. So it is harder to find good stock. So I'm getting to that point now where I'm it's getting a bit of a grind, to be honest. But we carry on anyway. I've still got a lot of stock left to sell, so even if I stop buying now, I'm still going to be stuck reselling for a few years because there's plenty of stock still to either list or still to sell. So here we are. But the money in then, so week 1, gross sales, everything that came in was £380.90. The eBay fees was £61.57. The postage was £55.97. And the cost to buy all of the items was £106.23. The net profit overall that I made for that week was £157.13, which beat my target, which is £150 a week I try and aim to make, and I got £157. Now, week 2 was very poor, but as I said, I was on holiday mode, I was in Ireland, and not going to lie, couldn't care less. I didn't want to come home to loads of sales and have to wrap them and stress and get them to the post office. So I'm kind of glad it was a fairly slow week, if that makes sense. Obviously, I love selling stuff, but that particular week I was in holiday mode. I didn't want to come into work and just wrap and post loads of stuff. So I was just grateful to have a fairly easygoing week, let's say. So gross sales then for week 2, £94.83. Fees £15.41. Postage £12.47, cost to buy was £34.49, and the net profit for that week was £32.46. So over the course of the 2 weeks, made about 190 quid, 180 quid. So not a great deal of money, but it's all right. And I haven't really bought much other than the Pokemon cards, which, to be fair, are quite expensive. But I bought those out my own money rather than eBay money because I think I'm going to keep them for myself. So I'm trying to be a bit tighter as well with my spending. If I'm going to buy stuff myself, I don't use my eBay card. I use my own personal stuff because, I try and keep all the money that I make in the same bank account, and then I can just, not have to dip into my own personal savings. And then that way I've got more money to spend on other stuff for the channel. So, if I don't buy stuff myself at that money, then I can reinvest it into car boot videos or going shopping and looking for games or something like that people are interested in. So I'm trying to build up the money a bit so that I can get back into the swing of things. But yeah, just being transparent with everyone really. The last couple of weeks have been quite tough, and I haven't really given it my all, to be honest. I'm a bit burnt out, and I needed the break. But now I've had the break and I've had a poor week. Hopefully this kicks me into gear to do well over the next coming weeks. But yeah, still no signs really of me going to the car boots because I just haven't got time and I haven't got the energy, to be honest, to go bring back 3 bags of stuff, list it all, test it all, and then do a full week at work and then do it all over again on the weekend and edit the video and stuff. So, but I do love the car boots, so I will be going back. I just don't know when. But yeah, sorry, enough waffling. Thank you very much for watching the video. I do appreciate it. Thanks for checking it out. And I will see you on the next video. If you're new around here, please consider subscribing, like the video, and all that good stuff. And I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.